at the end of the day, the reason that some people can get paid way more and make way more money is because they have better skills. And I am just a fundamental believer on, if there's something that I don't know how to do, it's just a skill that I lack. Everyone is created equal. Some people learn things slightly faster, but you can spend double the amount of time and just not watch as much Netflix and you'll figure it out. Like, that's it. It's that simple. So if you want to improve your business and you are making a profit, or if you're not making a profit but you want to improve it, redirect what you're currently spending on into something that's actually going to have a chance of having a good ROI.
Yeah, cool. So, Mitch.
Yep.
My business, my swim school, is actually starting to make me some money, and there's some profits that are hitting my bank account after all the bills are paid and after I've paid myself and after all my employees have been paid. Thanks. What do I do?
So, what you should do and what most people do are two very different things. What most people do is they'll go and buy something that's really nice to have, not a need to have. And that is, they might get a new pool heater, even though their one's not quite like on the way out. It's maybe got another 3 years or something like that, just because they want it to be a little bit warmer. Or they'll go and buy new kickboards or new toys, or they'll go do a new qualification, which is all cool. But when you look at money, okay, you can either get it and invest it in something like shares, S&P 500, whatever you want, and you get about an 8% return. So let's pretend you got a $100,000 profit, you put it into the S&P 500, and you get $8,000 back each year. Not too bad. Or you could take that money and you could use it to pay a new staff member, and it might cost you $10,000 in wages to train them up. And then you have this person who can make you money after you've trained them. And you might end up, we'll use for example, you might pay them $30 an hour. And let's say that you give them 10 hours per week, it's $300 in constant costs, but you get to charge them out at $100 per hour. Pretty good return if you have them for a few years. So when it comes to making profits in a service-based business, the best thing that you can do is either get better staff or get more staff so that you can make more money, or get more clients. The getting more clients side of things is go on YouTube, figure out how to run paid ads yourself. It's actually dead simple. I've watched a lot of stuff, and then I've gone and done courses as well off it. And the better you get at it, the more money you make, pretty much at the end of the day.
So when people make a profit,
Yeah.
and they think about, okay, this money is money I can reinvest back into my business, right? What you're saying is that there are some things that are a good reinvestment and some things that are not so good of a reinvestment. And something that's not so good might be something, just a little upgrade, but really it's not that bad anyway. It's like you got a couple of shootout kickboards, but they still work.
Yeah.
And so spending a ton of money on new kickboards or new equipment is not as valuable to the business as if you spent that money training a new employee that could then take more classes.
Yeah, so probably a poor representation of training earlier. So $10,000 it wouldn't take to train a new staff member. It might take $2,000 worth of wages. But we make, what do we get back? $370 per hour for full classes, and we're paying on average about $25 for an employee. So let's say it takes 40 hours to train a new staff member, costs us $1,000. That's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Once we've dropped that $1,000 into them, we will make that back within about 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's a really good return. But then after that initial point, you just keep them, and then you keep making money on the condition that you have got enough clients that actually want to have you. Where was I going with that? Like, interesting story for you is I ran ads, didn't do that great of a job, but we got more clients. Then I did some more learning and ran ads a bit better, and we got more clients because I could spend our money more effectively. And then I paid, I think it might cost us like $7 or $8 grand in total by the time we got up there. And then I did a full-blown ads course and did really well with it. I actually got an award for like one of their best advertisers out of about 1,500 people, which was fucking sick as. But it meant that we unlocked a different level of our business. Like, we just grew as a really cool consequence, and we could spend more money and we could make more money. And at the end of the day, when you've got profit, you want to reinvest it into either getting more clients or being able to service more clients. Like, they're the two sides of it. And having money sitting in an S&P 500 if you're a service-based business owner, specifically if you own a swim school, useless. Just like, I will not invest in shares because I can find so much better places to put my money.
And so why do you think that when people have profit to reinvest, why do you think that most business owners reinvest in something physical rather than something like skills?
So that's a really interesting question. Why do people reinvest in something physical as opposed to something that's a skill? So there's no guarantee that you actually pick up a skill. Whereas when you buy $1,000 worth of kickboards, everyone can see that it looks nicer and you will get complimented on it. They're like, oh, you've got new kickboards. That's a really poor positive feedback mechanism for having a better business. But when you've got skills, like let's say that it cost me $10,000 to do my first ads course. Cost me more probably, but it was included in other things. It cost like $50,000. Then the next one, again, about another $50,000 with all the learning and that sort of stuff. So we're $100,000 down the drain. Whoa, that's a lot of money. Then we go and do the next one again, and it's like, nearly 10 grand. That's the one that ends up being the one that works. If I hadn't constantly kept trying to learn advertising and getting better at it, we never would have got the leverage. And let's say now that we're making an extra $200,000, $300,000 a year in revenue as a consequence of investing that $110,000 over 3-4 years. It's a really good investment when you think of it like that. But at the time, dropping $50,000 into something, it seems like the stupidest idea ever. You're like, I can't guarantee. And that's the problem, is people can't guarantee that they're actually going to pick up the skill, and they can't guarantee that someone else actually knows what they're talking about. But when you look at the outcome, was it worth going through the first two to get to the third one to know what I wasn't looking for, because there were other things that I investigated upon that, like along that timeline, that I was like, no, I've already learned that. They don't know what they're talking about. I've done that. I've seen better success than what they're talking about. And that's what led to me actually finding the right people and being able to make better money as a consequence of investing in the right skills with the right people.
And so for somebody that has some profit and they're thinking about investing in something and they're thinking about the difference between physical and skills, potentially a frame or a reframe that they could use is thinking on a longer time horizon.
Yeah.
And so thinking, okay, in 10 years' time, is having new kickboards going to change my business? Well, probably the answer is no, right? But if in 10 years' time, if I invest this money in myself to get better at a skill like marketing or like paid ads, is that going to change my business? Or is there the potential to change my business, right? It's the answer to that is there's a way more chance that it's going to change my business than some more kickboards when the time horizon's longer.
It's